All right, folks, it's a new year. New year, new me, right? Let's get real. If you're still walking around smelling like a gym bag, that has got to change. Enter Mando. Whole body deodorant, the game changer you didn't know you needed. Mando is not just for your pits, it's for everywhere. It is seriously safe to use on every part of your body, guys. All Mando products are paraben free. They're baking soda free. And Mando was designed by a doctor who observed how poorly BO was being diagnosed and being treated. Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and to control it for up to 72 hours. You can choose the solid stick with mandelic acid, which will stop odor before it starts, or go with the spray deodorant, which is perfect for hard to reach spots, with scents like bourbon leather, cloverwoods, my favorite Mount Fuji. You can get the starter pack right now. Go to shopmando.com. Solid stick, cream tube, and 2 free products. $5 off with code Chael, and we're even going to throw in free shipping. That's 40% off just by going to shopmando.com and using the code Chael. Smell fresher, stay drier, and dominate the new year with Mando. I remember the day that Umar got named #1 contender. That's when O'Malley and Merab still had an active contract to compete. Generally, our #1 contender comes up after Dana will get asked to fight. Who's the champion going to fight next? You're seeing it with Islam right now, just for example. And no, that one was figured out. It was going to be Umar. We're going to start the promotion. It's going to begin. Umar is going to come out, be in the front row. That's Sphere, Las Vegas. This huge event. Now he's brought into the main event. I mean, it really was a big deal. We're having to explain who Umar is to people. You're having to explain how to say Umar, how great he is, what his record is, what his relation with Khabib is, but it was like this educational part of the process. And I bring it because what does Merab do now? I think I have that answer. Stay with me. But at a minimum, can we agree that Umar proved how good he is? I mean, at a minimum, can we agree that if Merab is the world champion, then Umar is the next thing? Can we agree that he looked very good? I thought Umar won the fight. And in that building, I was alone. When they announced Merab, I thought there was going to be a lot of boos. Kind of like, well, half the building thought it was Umar and half thought it was Merab. I will fully admit to you, I was alone. But I thought they were going to give Umar rounds 1, 2, and 3. Now, I think anybody would have agreed that it comes down to round 3. 4 and 5 were very clear. 1 and 2 were very clear. Do you agree with that? Because yet again, that's not how it played out. One of the judges gave Umar round 4. So it really wasn't that 3 was in this great divide, or that 3 was the decision maker. One of the actual judges gave him 4. So, what a fight, though. And it's very rare, guys, that we find ourselves in this situation. The situation is we watch 2 guys fight, and I can't come and tell you that Merab is the better fighter. It's not what I saw. Particularly if we're talking about being dynamic. If we're talking about crisp, and we're talking about clean techniques. Right, look at the kicks that Umar was throwing, bringing his foot up, going right to the head, bring that foot up, go to the chest, bring this flipper kiss right to the head. David Loiseau, do you guys remember him? He used to do this so well. David Loiseau. I was in a practice room with David one time. He showed me it. He showed me how he does this kick, how he throws his leg out, kicks it straight, and then you just so you look at it. It does nothing. You kick it straight and then leave it there. It does nothing. But that pause where the guy looks at it, that's the time where you buy yourself a moment to come up and do this. I would call it like a flipper kick to the face. But so many other things as well that Umar just showed his ability and understanding of fighting, of wrestling, of grappling. I'm not certain that Merab showed us he was a better fighter. And that isn't an insult to Merab. It's just a reminder that in this sport, those matches will get to a point where better athlete, better martial artist doesn't always come in. It is a battle, particularly when you're doing said battle for 25 minutes of duration, of your ability to keep up. You know, historically speaking, many of the best weren't the cleanest and crispest. I mean, you could look at Floyd Mayweather and Floyd's ability, offensively and defensively, but it was a thing of beauty. To watch Floyd out there fighting, it was a thing of beauty. How technical it was, how athletic it was. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, I believe to be more dominant. I believe to have a bigger career. That's arguable. But I'm just sharing for you, Mike was anything but fluid. He was anything but beautiful to watch. You guys remember Jon Smith? You amateur wrestling fans. Jon Smith innovated the sport and made it beautiful. And you don't get to call wrestling beautiful very often. It's this violent and aggressive. The way Jon Smith would move, oh my goodness, was it ever a dance. He stepped this way, come the other way. He took opponents down without ever touching them. He could make an opponent think he's going left and he was actually going right, and it'd be a thing. And the opponent's reaching here and sprawling. Jon would end up on top without ever touching the guy. Meanwhile, Jon's predecessor, it'd be successor rather. Tom Brands was violent. And they both got to the same spot, which was World, Olympic, and NCAA championships. Two very different approaches. And they both also got there being extremely dominant. But two different styles. So I'm not putting Merab down at all. Not at all. I'm just reminding you that at some point it does become a cage fight. When we talk about who the best fighter in the world is, generally when people answer that, they're thinking who is the most dynamic? Who is the most well-versed in multiple areas? And that's where I just got to come back to Mike Tyson. He was not. He was going to come out and it was going to be brutal. And it was going to be based on power. It was going to be based on getting inside. But that domination factor, Mike Tyson, Tom Brands, same thing. John Smith, Sean O'Malley, for example, a thing of beauty. It was just very different. Another thing about Umar is generally when a guy is winning a fight and then conditioning takes over and the other guy starts to win the fight or comes from behind to win the fight. Exactly what we saw. But generally speaking, one guy cracks. One guy gets to a level of exhaustion where he starts to fade. He cannot hold up anymore. And that is not what happened with Umar. If you came out of that with the sense that it did, your eyes are lying to you. Umar stayed in that battle. Umar could have gone another round and a round after that if he had to. He was not fading. He was not cracking. It was just a matter of how much Merab was on top of him. And it does make me wonder if Merab could have won all 5 rounds. I mean, listen, the way Merab fought in rounds 4 and 5, that wasn't the same guy. The man that Umar beat in round 1 is not the man that Umar faced in round 5. And Merab did the same thing with O'Malley, where he comes out and he's keeping distance. Merab's anything but distance, anything but a distance fighter. Merab's going sideways and backwards in round 1. Same thing he did with O'Malley. Merab's only got one way to go. It's forward. And when Merab starts going forward, when Merab finally started to believe in himself is when that fight changed. See, that's the part of the story you're never going to be told. And Merab should not hide from that. Merab should embrace what I'm saying to be true, which is there's 2 Merabs. And the one that showed up in the first round is the one that was trying to keep a championship. The one that showed up in the 5th round is the one that's trying to win championships. And so it does make me wonder, did Merab not have the energy to do that all 25 minutes so he bought himself a little time? Does it work at the 20-minute point because he's fooled them in round 1? Go back to amateur wrestling, Pat Smith. Pat Smith never moved backwards except on the whistle in every match he's ever had. Put your foot on the line. That guy puts his foot on the line. The referee blows the whistle. Pat Smith backs up. He had 36 matches his junior year. He backed up 36 times. But he never backed up again. And he only went backwards at first to get the guy to step to him. And I'm asking, I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to Merab saying, yes, Chael's right. I have 2 different styles. But Chael's wrong that I do that by mistake. I'm open to him being a Pat Smith type that is going back to make the guy come at him. I'm open to that's why it works in round 5, but it's not what I'm seeing. I believe Merab told us the truth one time going into that fight, which is I don't think I had enough time to prepare for his wrestling. I think that's the one time that Merab opened up and let us in, because that's how he fought in round 1. In fact, he fought that way for the first 12 minutes. And then somewhere he realized, I can wrestle, but I need to give myself a chance by going forward and taking the space away. I think Merab, and it's very rare that you see this with a world champion, but I think Merab is unaware of how good he is. Merab and Aljo Sterling that train together, I can guarantee you Aljo does not know how good he is. Aljo is more dominant and better. Aljo can go through these 45-pounders, but he questions himself. I think we saw Merab question himself, and I think by the end of the night, Merab believed in himself. And I think moving forward, I think opponents are going to have to deal with a different Merab. They're going to have to deal with the Merab for 25 minutes that O'Malley had to and Umar had to deal with at the 20 to 25-minute mark.